Hi everyone, so today we're going to be learning about some traveling tips in 3 different European countries, and those countries are Germany, the Czech Republic, and Austria. So to start off, what do you know about these countries? Have you been to any of them? If you haven't been to any of them, or if you have, what are some tourist attractions you know of, or some places that you've been recommended to visit? Starting off, just an overview of each country. Germany is a country in Eastern Europe. Some cities to visit there are Berlin, which is the capital, and Potsdam, which is just 45 minutes about south of Berlin. You can see on the map there that Berlin is in the red star and Potsdam is just a little bit south of that. In the Czech Republic, a major city is Prague, and it's a beautiful city that overlooks the Vltava River, and it's full of art, architecture, food, and a lot more. In Austria, some major cities to visit are Salzburg and Innsbruck, and Austria is full of beautiful scenery and really warm people. So what should you see in these countries? In Berlin, a huge tourist attraction is Museum Island. And Museum Island is located on the northern side of the Spree River. It's in about 5 different museums, and my favorites that I went to are the Pergamon and the Neues Museum. And Neues means new in German. The Neues Museum contains a lot of Old Testament scrolls, it's to the left there, and a lot of other religious artifacts. And additionally, there's a lot of art there, a lot of sculptors, famous sculptors put their art there, and also a lot of paintings by artists like Monet, Picasso, and Da Vinci. The Pergamon Museum on the right there has a lot of Greco-Roman artifacts. Specifically pictured up there is the Ishtar Gate of Babylon, and that was actually constructed in the museum. And it's a lot bigger than is pictured there. It actually goes down the hallway to the right there and spans an entire about 50 feet wide hallway. So it's very interesting to see. Another attraction in Berlin is the Berlin Cathedral, and it's only open during services and private prayer, but there's no fee to enter, and it's just a beautiful cathedral to be inside. Here's a picture of it from the front and also from the back, and the picture to the right is over the Spree River. Additionally, Germany is a town really full and rich in history. If you know about the history of Germany, to the left there we have a picture of a remain of the Berlin Wall, and throughout Germany, in a lot of the streets, there's actually brick pathways that show where the Berlin Wall used to be, and it's sort of a way for the Germans to remember it in a healthy way. In the middle picture there, that's the memorial to the Jews. It's a very solemn place to be, sort of to remember the Holocaust. And it's actually set up to look like a bunch of tombs, so you can walk through it, and some of them are shorter, some of them are taller, and it's sort of meant to look like a wave if you look at it from a bird's eye view. And then to the right there's the Brandenburg Gate, and that's another historical place to enter. Potsdam, Germany is our next city, and it's about 45 minutes south of Berlin, like I said. And a must-see there is the Sanssouci Park. Sanssouci Park is a 5-mile span of just palaces everywhere. And if you're looking to see palaces in Europe or visit any of these, Sanssouci Park is a place to go. It was actually originally built for King Frederick the Great as a summer home. And that summer home that I'm talking about is in the picture to your right. That's the Sanssouci Palace, and below it is gardens and vineyards and plenty of fountains everywhere, and it's just gorgeous. And the whole span of 5 miles is made up of multiple palaces and more gardens. Here's another picture of inside one of the palaces. This is inside the Orange Palace, and it used to be a ballroom. Here's another palace and another one. This is actually used as a college right now. There's some classes that people take in there during the school year, but since we were there in the summer, there was no one visiting. Here's a Chinese tea house in the Sanssouci Park, and here is another palace. The inside of it is used to house a lot of priceless art right now. And interestingly enough, you're actually not allowed to take pictures in any of these places, but I snuck a lot of them. Moving on to the Czech Republic. Like I said, Prague is a major city in Czech Republic, and the best things about Prague are the architecture, like the cobblestone streets, the food, and the shopping is a great part of it. So the best sites to see in Prague, the first one will be the Prague Castle. And right now it's home to the Czech president, although it used to be home to the king when Prague and the Czech Republic was a monarchy. Right now it contains the crown jewels and priceless art. And if you're going to visit Prague ever, the Prague Castle is quite a hike to get to. It's actually only open till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you either have to be with a tour or you have to hike yourself. So it's kind of a long way to get there. Another site to see is the astronomical clock. It's located in the town square on the southern side of the old town hall tower. And normally If you look at the top of the picture, there's these two square openings, and that's where the 12 Apostles processional happens every hour. Now, unfortunately, when I was there and this picture was taken, it was being under construction. You can kind of see on the top there's scaffolding there. So I wasn't able to see that processional, but it's a beautiful clock that's huge and massive and way bigger than you think. And it's actually pictured in the Harry Potter movies. If you watch those, on the side of Hogwarts Castle, they have a clock just like it. Like I said, the shopping is great in Prague. Unlike a lot of other European countries, Prague is actually very affordable. The shopping market, if I can pronounce it correctly, is called Havelski Zristy, and it's very affordable if you want to get souvenirs, food, and fresh produce. I believe I got an entire carton of raspberries there for just $1. Moving on to Austria. One of the best places to visit in Austria is Salzburg, and especially that's because you can explore scenes from The Sound of Music. If you've ever seen that movie, there's tons of scenes from Salzburg that were either filmed there or inspired by Salzburg. First of all is the Schloss Leopoldskron, and just a note, Schloss in German means castle, so if I ever use that term, it's to represent castle. This was used as the mansion that the Von Trapp family lived in the movie. Currently, it's used as a hotel and also for seminars and conferences. And when we were actually there, and when this picture was taken, there was a wedding happening. So we just were there for the end of it and sort of snuck on there to take pictures. Here's the view from the Schloss Leopoldskron. If you remember the scene from The Sound of Music, that lake there is when Julie Andrews is in the boat with the kids and they fall into the water, and also another scene all the kids are singing there in front of those two statues. And that's my mom there pretending to sing like Julie Andrews. Another fun place to visit is the Schloss Hellbrunn Gazebo, where they sing the song You Are 16 Going on 17. And originally it was at Leopoldskron, but it was moved because of high tourism. So now it's located just about 5 to 10 minutes south of Salzburg in the gardens of the Schloss Hellbrunn. Now, if you recognize these from the movie, this is originally where it was inspired for the scene of them to hide from the Nazis when they were hiding behind the tombs. Now, this isn't where it was actually filmed, but they actually recreated the scene in Hollywood from these tombs. And next is the Mirabel Gardens. If you remember this scene to the right where they're running around singing, there's tons of scenes from the Mirabel Gardens, and to the left is a picture we took of just one of the scenes. Now, an amazing part about Austria is the mountains, especially the mountain of Untersberg. We took a gondola to get up there, and there's 3 pictures there pictured. To the left is a view from the top, and then a picture with me and my friend. And then to the right is a picture of me holding an Edelweiss flower, if you remember the song from Sound of Music. And a fun fact about this place is this is actually where the movie was filmed when they escaped over the mountains. And interestingly enough, it's not where they escaped over the mountains in real life, but it is where they used for the movie. Now the last stop in the lesson is the Neuschwanstein Castle. It's located in Germany actually, but it's right next to the Austrian border, so we just went from Salzburg and traveled a few hours north. To get to the Neuschwanstein Castle, it's about a 30 to 45-minute hike uphill. So if you're willing to hike, bring tennis shoes. Or if you're willing to pay about $30 a person, you can take a horse and buggy to get there. It's a fairy tale castle. It's based off a lot of fairy tales have been based off of it, like Cinderella, and it's one of the best places to visit in Europe, I think. Now review. What do you remember? Write down 3 things you remembered from the lesson, and they can be anything from the Berlin Wall is in Germany, or to something you remember cool about Austria. Okay, and here's a little review. This is the Berlin Cathedral and the Brandenburg Gate, both in Germany. The astronomical clock and the Prague Castle, both in the Czech Republic. The Schloss Leopoldskron and Untersberg Mountain, both in Austria. Okay, here's our activity. We're going to be matching the picture with its location. So I have numbers above each picture, and I want you to look and tell me where number 1 is, number 2, number 3, and 4. And here's our answers. Number 1 was the astronomical clock in Czech Republic. Number 2 was the Chinese tea house in Potsdam, Germany. Number 3 was the Berlin Cathedral in Berlin, Germany. And number 4 was the Schloss Leopoldskron in Salzburg, Austria. So if you got all those right, great job. Now some questions for discussion. Where would you like to visit the most? Do you have any questions about these places? And what was your favorite?